Good evening. Welcome to the latest live edition from Last Bar Boxing. Joined by regulars, as always, Daz Metcalf. How are you, mate?
All right, mate. All good.
All the way from Newcastle. I don't really want to talk too much about Newcastle right now, but Mick, how are you, pal?
Very well, thanks, mate. Very well. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for taking our player as well, buddy.
You couldn't even get 30 seconds in, could you?
No. But I will say before we get onto the boxing, as this is a boxing show, before we get onto the boxing, I'm not as disappointed as I am at Spurs, and we'll leave it at that because Daz might jump off screen, not talk to me again. But let's crack straight on, boys. So fantastic couple of cards this weekend, especially Madison Square Garden, most valuable promotions. It's been built up over the last month or two on social media, and boy, did it deliver. What a card. Atmosphere was outstanding, just as it was for the first two Taylor Serrano fights. But let's go straight into it because there's a lot to pick off the bones here. And I think we're better off starting. I think we normally start down the card, but tonight we'll start right at the very top. Apologies for my screen angle, by the way. I'm on my phone because I've knackered my laptop. Just in case anyone comments in the sidebar that they're looking up my nose and seeing me double chins. But let's go straight into it with Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano 3. I commented to Daz, I'll watch this the morning after, boys. I'm too old to be sitting up in the middle of the night now and watching stuff live. So I watched it next morning, and to say I was disappointed is probably unfair, but it didn't live up to the first two fights in the dramatic fashion. But even so, very tactical. Daz, give me a breakdown of how you think the fight went, and was it the right result?
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you compare it to the first two, it was a ball fest. But you know, it wasn't. Excuse me. Yeah, I think they're both. Listen, them two fights are going to have taken a lot out of both of them. You know, it was a bit more cautious. Katie looked to counter. Listen, I commented to you as well. There was a lot of air punches. There was a lot of punches hitting fresh air. You know, a lot of people I've seen scored it a draw. A lot of people couldn't split them. I think Eddie Earns said that he thinks Katie won nearly every round.
Well, of course he did. Yeah.
You know, mate, I personally had Katie just taking it by one or two. But, you know, it was just one of them. I think it's done now. It's put to bed. You know, it's the only trilogy where, you know, it's 2-0, I think, unless we're going to count Fiore Usyk. But yeah, you know, I think Katie won it one or two rounds. So I've got no issue with her winning.
Before I move on to Mick, Katie adopted a slightly different tactic in that she was on the back foot for 8 of the 10 rounds, counter punching. Every time Amanda came in with any sort of attack, Katie counter punching. It was obviously working because she won the fight off of the back of that. But noticeably, a coach was a little bit nervous in the corner, Daz.
Yeah, I think they felt that, you know, like a lot of people did that I saw, that it was set up to be Serrano's night. You know, everything sort of tried to favour Serrano. I don't believe that. I just think Serrano's just very popular in New York. It was just, you know, one of them fights where it were never really going to live up to the first two. Katie adopted them tactics. She was a bit more effective than what Amanda was. Should Amanda have adjusted in the fight, you know, thrown some feints, made Katie go and then gone, you know, almost counter the counter, probably. But I think on the night, Katie deserved to win.
Mick, Katie said at the end of the fight, I know it was a bit of tongue in cheek, and the atmosphere between the two was really, really good. I thought, but very sporting, considering they've been in 2 wars and then 1 fight that could have really gone either way. Serrano was very disappointed with the fact that she hadn't won any of those 3 fights, especially the first one. But Katie said afterwards that Amanda Serrano punches really hard. So the tactics of her being on the back foot and counter punching, do you think it had a lot to do with that?
Yeah, I mean, to echo what both of you have said in parts, it didn't live up to what the first 2 fights did. It was a completely different fight fought from Katie Taylor. But I think the word, if you had to describe her performance, it would be vintage. She couldn't miss with a check left hook. Every time she was pressured towards the ropes or the corner, she was either swivel on the heel and she was out, or she was coming out quick with a 3-4 punch combination, then she was out a distance again. Serrano just couldn't live with her. All night, Amanda was just trying to set her feet and land a big shot, and she just couldn't do it. Katie was always gone in time. I didn't see it as close at all, to be honest with you. I actually got up when I was watching it live, and I was actually texting Brett round by round with the scoring. And to be fair to you, I had it 7-3. Well, I actually had it 7-2 to Katie. I had it 7-2, and I had the first round as a 10-10. So for me, I had it scored, 98-93. But obviously the judges gave it 97-93 because they gave the first round to Serrano. I just didn't see it as close in the slightest. Like I say, I scoring it round by round and texting it to Brett. And I think I gave Serrano, well, I gave her genuinely 6 and 8. And then obviously the first, it was a whatever you like the most, really. So other than that, I thought it was a shutout from Katie. I didn't see it as close at all. But with Serrano, you can't take away from her what she is. She's probably the biggest female puncher pound for pound that we've ever seen. I think she's got the record now for the most knockouts in female boxing history. But if you look at her career throughout, she's either done 2 things. She's stopped the girl, or she's battered them to the point of they don't want to engage with her. When she's there against the boxer, she can't live with it at times. And that's why, for me, all 3 fights I've had Katie winning, but this one I just found the easiest to score.
Right.
Take nothing away from Serrano, but yeah, for me, they've fought for 30 rounds there in total, and I've had Katie winning all 3 fights, genuinely, but the last one was just the easiest.
Okay, 2 questions to both of you then. The first one's probably going to be very simple for you both to answer. Katie Taylor's widely regarded as the best female of all time. Does this cement, number one, question 1, does this cement that thought? Secondly, where'd you put Amanda Serrano in amongst the greats off the back of the fact that she's a multi-weight world champion and the fact that she's lost 3 times to Katie Taylor, but anybody could do that? Firstly to you, Daz.
On achievements, yeah, I mean, I'd say Katie's probably down as the best. I don't believe she is the best female fighter of all time.
Who'd you put that down to?
I think that belongs to Lucy Riker, mate, if I'm honest. She was, a complete fighter for me. Katie, on achievements and ability, yeah, you've got to probably put her up above her as number 1. Serrano's definitely in the conversation behind Katie. We've got to give Amanda credit as well. She's a featherweight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's a featherweight, and she's just like, in 2 fights, she brutalized the super lightweight. And she's been up and down, up and down. I believe she's still undisputed featherweight champion as well, or unified featherweight champion, whatever. So I've got to give credit for that. Massive credit for that, in fact. Yeah, listen, she's in conversation. Maybe top 5. She's got to be in top 5, I think, Serrano. But yeah, I'd agree with Katie, number 1. I also have to say that the level of disrespect from Miss Shields on Twitter towards Katie Taylor, and Serrano, and pretty much every other female fighter on the planet, it just shows what kind of character she is, and what and what a makeup of a character is. She's fought nobody. And I'm not going to make this about Clarissa Shields, because this is about Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, but Clarissa Shields has fought nobody. Nobody. I mean, she's fought Savannah Marshall, who for me fought the wrong fight. She's has Clarissa fought Shakur Green as well? I believe she has, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Let's be fair. Shakur is, she looks a bit powerful, but weren't exactly pulling up any trees. I mean, the girl she's fought to win an heavyweight. Listen, it's just a farce. Some of the girls that she's fought. She's a skillful fighter. She's got skills. I respect that. But there's a word that's mainly used in Liverpool that describes her perfectly. I think she's a bit of a shithouse, if I'm honest. Who's got no respect for, seems like any other fighter. She just seems. Listen, all the fighters in the past who we consider the greatest, some of the greats, they never say it themselves. She seems to tell everyone she's the greatest. No one of note seems to say it. It's just her saying it. She nicknames herself the greatest woman of all time. I don't think she's even in the conversation, if I'm honest. Not one bit. But Katie Taylor, for me, definitely number one.
Mick, same question to you, mate. I was gonna bring Clarissa Shields into the question, because on paper she's won loads, but boxing isn't just about achievements. It's about the legacy that you leave in the sport and the way that you treat other people. Amanda Serrano does everything in her power to bring the next generation through. She's always talking boxers up, always praising other fighters. Katie Taylor does the same thing. I mean, Katie Taylor's obviously laid the path for everybody. She's laid the path for everybody, not only in raising the female game, but also raising the purses for female fighters. So again, mate, same question. Where do they sit, and where do you sit Clarissa Shields in amongst that as well?
Katie's number one for me, based on the longevity of the career, both amateur and professional, and also the level of opposition throughout her professional career. She's one after the other, taking big fight after big fight. Like Daz said there, for all you've got Clarissa Shields with all the talent in the world and an amazing amateur record to back it up, she hasn't really got a resume of great fighters that she's fought. The biggest name on there is probably Savannah. And let's be honest, after Friday night, Savannah's career is not looking in the shape it was with that result. So for me, Clarissa Shields, she's going to be up there. I'd say top 7. Amanda Serrano, top 5. Simply because we're looking at a 7-weight world champion, the only undisputed champion from Puerto Rico. You can't discount that. Like I said, that probably the biggest punching female we've ever seen, pound for pound. You can't discount that. And she's a super feather who went in against someone essentially fighting at super lightweight. I thought the first fight was at lightweight for the lightweight undisputed, and then the second and third were for super lightweight. But even still, she's won world titles right up to 140 anyway. And I think she's had stoppages as well at that them kind of weights. So she clearly carries the power right from 115 right the way up to 140. It's just a case of she's come up against It's been boxer against puncher with Katie for me. And let's be honest, yeah, she took Katie into the trenches in 1 and 2, but is that not more down to the fight that Katie Taylor was fighting more than what Amanda was able to do? Because when Katie Taylor decided to box, it was a completely different fight on Friday. So for me, Katie Taylor at 1, Serrano definitely top 5, probably in my top 3 to be honest, and Clarissa Shields. Well, if you've got to tell everybody you're the greatest, you're clearly not the greatest, are you? People would be saying that about you. There's one person that I would, in boxing history, that I would disqualify from that rule, and it would be Muhammad Ali for what he did for the sport. He told everybody he was the greatest, and based on what he did for the sport, you could argue he is.
Okay. Moving on then, boys. Alicia Baumgardner back after, let's call it, time out of the ring. She defended her undisputed super featherweight titles against Jennifer Miranda. Scorecards read 98-92, 2 scorecards, and then 97-93. I'll come to you first, Mick. Not classic Baumgardner, was it?
No, she looked flat. Baumgardner's normally explosive, fast, and she just looked flat. It looked like it was a chore for most of that fight. I mean, considering as well, I think that's the first fight where she's got Derek James in the corner. That was concerning for me, seeing that performance, considering it's the first fight with a new coach. Obviously, she's also been through all of the failed drug test malarkey as well, which kept her out a bit longer than what she was accustomed to. But yeah, just strange performance from her. And to be honest with you, until the scorecard started getting read out, she looked worried. She was stood waiting for that result, and she looked worried, visibly. It was only when the second scorecard got read out, you sort of thought then, yeah, it can't be anybody but her who's won it. But yeah, not the greatest of performance.
She wouldn't make a spy, would she?
Carry on. Carry on, pal.
So yeah, for me, not the greatest of performances, but she got the job done. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about, isn't it? I would hope to see something more from her next time out.
Daz, any other thoughts than that, really?
Listen, I'm going to address it. Baumgardner was a puncher. She was, knocking people out. She, the knockout of Terry Harper was
frightening.
Yeah. Fails a drug test, comes back, can't break an egg. No pun intended. Is that the case?
Has she knocked anybody else out since Harper? I'm trying to think if she has. Because she had the Mia fight, where obviously she did hurt Mia.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, obviously she didn't stop Mia. Obviously I thought Mia won that fight.
Yeah.
Whether she stops him, she's always seemed to have. I'm just having a.
I don't think she has stopped. But then she's moved up in levels.
Whether she stops him, she just seems to, in the respect, and have an effect on. You can throw someone out of a game plan. Yeah, I mean, she's not stopped anybody since Harper.
And let's be honest, that Harper stoppage, for all it was brutal, and the ref did a great job to save Terry, to be fair. We're looking at somebody who was severely weight drained in Terry Harper at that weight. Yeah. Hence why she then went up to 154 in the end to get other world title chances.
Yeah. I mean,
so read into that.
Yeah, I mean, Alicia's, in the first few fights, she stopped quite a lot. Obviously, you've got to take into account the competition's gone up in levels. But I do think that, you know, listen, you fail a drug test and you stop knocking people out. You know,
it's all the thing is, right, regardless of whether that's fact or not, there's always going to be that question mark. There's always going to be that black mark against the name.
Yeah, exactly.
Goes with anybody that is in that same situation, failing or getting pinged for PEDs.
Yeah, I mean, listen, just shooting back to Katie Taylor, there's always going to be that question mark with her and Chantel Cameron. They've got to fight again, surely.
Yeah,
that's the next fight.
We'll touch on that. We'll touch on that in a minute when we talk about the Chantel Cameron fight. Let's move on to Shidei.
Sorry, Akan's just said good evening, lads.
Evening, Akan. Shidei Green unifies the super middleweight belt against Savannah Marshall. Scorecards read 95-94 and 96-93 to Shidei Green. And the other judge scored it 96-93 to Savannah Marshall. Close fight. Daz, I'll come to you. Firstly, on the result. Secondly, on Savannah Marshall's little outburst afterwards. Feeling very hard done to, thinking that the deck was stacked against her a little bit in this fight. What's your firstly feelings on the card and then the feelings on her reaction?
I had Savannah winning. I had Savannah winning by a couple, if I'm honest.
Right.
I've got to say, though, I've watched all the fights, and I didn't score them as Mick did. I just watched them, and this is, you know, if I go back, if I go back and do it properly, I probably might have different views. But from watching it, I thought Savannah was a little bit unlucky on the cards. You know, did it warrant a bit of an outburst at end, basically saying that she's been set up to lose? I'm not sure. I just think inactivities cost Savannah. Me and you have said, Andy, as well. I mean, I think I said to you that she was struggling to get boxing fights, and then she's got into this MMA type stuff. You know, learning a new discipline, and I don't really agree with it. I think you should do one or other. But I don't know, she just seemed a little bit flat, but is that inactivity? Possibly. Where does she go now? I'm not sure. But, I thought she was a bit hard done to be honest. I do.
Mick, what's your feelings, pal?
I had Savannah by 1. And that was mainly because Green had the point deduction. But at the start of the fight, I mean, we can talk about ring rust and whatever else, but I thought the first 4 rounds, Savannah looked mustard. I thought she looked good. I had a 3-1 up after 4. And then she got clipped in the 5th. She had her leg straightened in the 5th. And then it just seemed like after that, every movement from Green, every feint, she's biting. And she looked tentative. And it wasn't until the last couple of rounds, really, where you sort of seen her starting to really come back into it. So I had her winning 3 of the first 4, and I had her winning 9 and 10. But then with the point deduction as well for Green, I had her up by 1. So for me, I'm not into the whole screaming and it's a robbery, because it was still a close fight. But do I think the right person won? No. At the same time, let's have a little bit of decorum about the sport here. There's a way to win and there's a way to lose. You don't get on the microphone and start screaming that you're being hard done to like that. It's just not a good look for me. Go back into the back room and look to get the rematch made. It was a close fight. Get it done.
You didn't see Amanda Serrano doing that, did you?
Exactly. She could tell that she was disappointed. She had a cry in the corner with her coach and her team. She then came across mid-Katie interview and obviously gave her her flowers, done a full interview. That's it. That's how you, as a champion, take a loss. What Savannah did, it was very unbecoming for me.
It certainly can't help the fact that, I mean, situations are what they are. A main coach, Peter Fury, is not able to travel to the States.
Yeah,
that maybe affected her a little bit, having a new, maybe not a completely new voice, but a different voice in the corner that maybe doesn't know her quite like Peter knows her inside out. You know, knows when she's being a bit tentative and would know what to say to her at those occasions. Not that I'm making excuses. Today's Green, she won the fight. It should get ran back for me. Whether it will or not after Savannah's comments are another thing, because I'm sure the promotion are not going to take kindly to what she said there.
The thing is with Savannah, she's almost made a career. Yeah, she's won some good fights. She's had some good performances, but she's almost made a career off the fact of she beat Clarissa Shields as an amateur. And the only reason that she ended up in the PFL in an MMA setting is because Clarissa Shields went there. And it's this constant narrative of trying to get back with Clarissa Shields.
Yeah.
Let it go. You won as an amateur. That was the only fight Clarissa lost as an amateur. When you got in a pro ring, she showed what she was compared to Savannah Marshall. She was levels above. There we go. It's done. For me, that switch should never have been made. And if you're going to make that switch, you stay there. You don't keep coming back and forth, because things like this are going to happen. Like Daz said, you need to focus on one discipline.
Okay, moving swiftly on. Ellie Scotney unifies the super bantamweight belts, beating Yemelith Mikado in what was virtually a shutout. I thought it was a shutout. I think Ellie Scotney has finally introduced herself onto the world stage. Even though she was a champion before this, lads, I don't think she was given the credit she deserved. Now, after that performance, in my opinion, she's cemented herself right up there with in the argument for pound female fighter at the minute, behind the likes of Taylor, probably Chantel Cameron, but she's right up there, in my opinion. She showed levels on Friday night, Saturday morning. Scorecards read 190 and then two scorecards of 98-92. Daz, both me and you were very big fans of Ellie Scotney. We've said it for a while now. Your opinions of that performance?
Very good. I mean, listen, there were some little things and Shane was telling her, you know, set the right hand up, stuff like that. She sort of didn't listen to him as much as he probably would have liked on that. I've got to say, I thought Mikado's tactics were awful as well. She seemed to have no tactics whatsoever. But take nothing away from Ellie Scotney, she's a very, very, very good fighter. She's brought a lot into her game since Shane, as well, while she's been with Shane. The improvement inside is staggering compared to what she was earlier on in her career. Mick, I'll come to you, mate. There was times in that fight when things were very easy for her at times, and she was pot shotting. She doesn't. If she'd have put combinations together, in my opinion, she'd have stopped Mikado.
For me, Ellie Scotney just did Ellie Scotney things, didn't she? She's just so skillful. Right up there in pound for pound, I agree with you. She just needs to, for me, add that excitement factor, because I think for all, she's got a great personality. She's got a great team behind her. She's got all the skill in the world. There's just something there. It's that excitement factor for the casual fan. For me, she's fallen into that bracket where you've got to be a real lover of the game as a fan to really enjoy a performance, because there's just no risk of seeing a stoppage, hardly, is there? And when you see things like that on Friday night, where I agree with you, if she'd have really stepped on it, she probably could have got the stoppage, but she just doesn't. And that's a little bit frustrating, but she was just, again, mesmerising. She's got all the skill in the world. I just want to see her just go for it a little bit more and get somebody out of there early.
Right.
That would be my only criticism.
Okay. I mean, she's obviously got one. I can't remember the name of the other fighter that's holding a title in the division, but she's got that one fight left. I saw a comment from Barry McGuigan, replying to a comment of mine, actually saying that there's loads more to come from her. I think I'll put something like, I don't think we've seen the best of her, which I don't. I think there's still improvement to be made there. That's staggering after what I've just said about thinking that she's, one of the pound for pounds at the minute. Barry was mentioning that she could very easily move up to one or two more weights and win titles. And I agree. There's so much in her game. Very interesting and exciting to see what comes. She's under a promoter that clearly have got belief. They were jumping up and down in the background when she was in the ring, so they've got a lot riding on Ellie. I think. I think if they're thinking of bringing big shows to the UK, Ellie will be one of the fighters that will be headlining those shows. I think that might be what we might see happening in the very near future, lads. Okay, moving swiftly on to.
I wanted to say, Andy, just before you move on, sorry to jump in, but I think if she doesn't become undisputed and a multi-weight world champion, she'll have underachieved.
I agree, mate. 100%.
Can I just reply to her? I can. Still up down to Nicola. Oh, well, for Saturday, IBO, World Flyweight title against Marie Connon in Sheffield. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. I think we're gonna have a talk about that in a bit. I think so.
We are. We're gonna. And if you want to hold on, Ocam, we're gonna go through the rest of this card. Well, a couple more fights. We're gonna talk about a few fights off the Ring 3 card, and then we'll talk about Nick's fight. So moving swiftly on to undisputed bantamweight title fight. Shanika Johnson beat Sharetta Metcalf with a ninth round KO. Ninth round KO. Very good performance from Shanika Johnson, right? I'll come to you first, Az.
Very good. I do have to say that, she didn't really have a lot to fear. Sharetta doesn't carry power. Her feet looks awful. Every time she got hit, she looked distressed. She showed a lot of art, though. I'll give her credit for that. She showed a lot of art because she took some big shots from Shanika. But it's as one-sided a fight as you're probably going to see. I would have liked to have seen a corner looking to pull her out anytime after fifth, to be honest, because she doesn't carry the power to change the fight.
I'll have a 99.
You are, mate? Oh, yeah, mate, yeah. yeah. You have to excuse that. The loudest ice cream vans ever in Worksop. But yeah, it was just a really good performance from Shanika. She did what she had to do. And yes, she's now undisputed.
Very, very, very interesting. And I was wanting this result because there could be massive things to come in this division for Shanika Johnson, because you will have heard, Daz will have known probably for quite a bit longer, but you will have heard over the last week, MVP made a big announcement. The Blonde Bomber herself, Ebony Bridges, signed for Most Valuable Promotions. She's obviously Australian. Shanika Johnson's Australian. They're both massive on social media. That's the fight that has to be made at some point down the line. Clearly, that's the biggest fight in that division. Mick, first and foremost, before you comment on what I've just said, your thoughts on Shanika's performance against Shireta?
Shanika did exactly what she had to do, but for me, from looking at the opponent, I don't understand how that fight got sanctioned, because it was a complete mismatch. For me, I was hoping that the corner would pull her out before the ref got involved, but they obviously didn't.
He got sanctioned because Metcalf was a champion.
Well, yeah, but this is the problem, isn't it? Where in the women's game especially, and it's happened at times in the men's, but in the women's game especially, I think you can get accustomed to a title, and you can acquire a title without being at an appropriate level. And for me, that was evident with Metcalf. Yeah, I would have hoped that the corner would have stepped in earlier, but they didn't. But Shanika did exactly what she had to do. And let's be honest, 3-4 fights ago, when she lost to Ellie Scott, and you wouldn't have been saying Shanika Johnson's going to be an undisputed champion, would you? So, yeah, brilliant from her. I would like to see the fight that you've just mentioned. I think it would be obviously the biggest fight possible for both girls at this point in time. And I can't see how it would be a bad fight either. I think it would be an absolute bomb burner.
Absolute war.
Yeah.
Absolute
definitely.
War.
And obviously Daz will have us front row.
Well, obviously I can't go off of this subject without speaking to Coach. You must have had conversations. I don't want you to talk about what's been said privately, but I'm sure you can't really speak for Ebony. I get that, but I'm sure Ebony was watching this fight very closely. Daz?
Yeah, that's obvious. Ebony's now obviously signed to MVP. She's training. She's looking to be back end of this year. Oh yeah, that's her division. I'm just going to pick up on Akan's comment. Shireta Metcalf was very poor. Shanika Johnson is another level. I'm looking forward to see Shanika Johnson versus Dina Torslin when Dina is back. Yeah, another cracking fight. I've heard a rumour that Dina's coming back as a super bantamweight. I don't know how true that is. I know she's champion in recess, I think it is. So, by the time Dina's back, Shanika might not be the champion. So It might be, Dina v someone else. Not saying who, but you never know. But yeah, listen, Ebony's obviously got her eyes on it. She's got goals that she's set herself, and she will do anything to achieve them goals.
Just touching on something Mick mentioned. He says you don't know how this fight was sanctioned. I get what you're saying, Mick, because it was night and day, the two fighters. But when Shireta Metcalf won that title, the IBF title, there was lots and lots of smoke blown about how good she was by various channels, by various people in boxing. So that's how these sort of fights get made. That's how people's stock raises when social media goes the way it goes over certain fighters. And then you get a result like this, and you realise, well, maybe she wasn't half as good as people thought she was.
She, she beat Mayo, and that was questionable, to be fair, for the title. I watched that, and she was hitting gloves and fresh air, but it got she got the decision. So good luck to her. Well done. She was calling for a fight with Ebony. I mean, if these fighters want to judge Ebony on, you know, the Mayo fight, then so be it. But watching that, Shireta would not have heard the bell for the 5th against Ebony. No chance. She'd have got broken in half. But like I said, she showed a lot of art, so I've got to give her credit for that. She did show a lot of art because she took some fist.
You did, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of people were saying she's, you know, this, that, and, you know, I think you said it the other day, Andy, that people were talking about her as though she was second coming of Muhammad Ali.
They were.
Yeah, no, I mean, she was awful, to be fair.
The thing is, though, regardless of outside noise, i.e. promoters and social media, is this not where her team are there to protect her as well?
Mate,
and guide her right.
Yeah,
the problem is though, Mick, they would believe in the book.
Well, you've
that's
got
the interest.
Listen, you've got to think as well. I mean, I don't like to criticize trainers, but you know, why was her coach not, you know, thinking of pulling her? She was never going to win that fight. She was just going to take some more punishment. You know, that's all that was going to happen. She wasn't going to pull the fight out with a punch. You know, she can't break an egg. You know, it's only one of the only times I've seen where she were punching Chinika's gloves and she were going backwards. Shireta, you know, it looked disorganized. She just looked out of her depth. She looked really out of her depth. You know, I felt a bit for her, to be fair. You know, I really did. I felt a bit sorry for her. She looked like a rabbit in headlights, if I'm honest. Like she didn't know how to react and defend herself. You know, when she got hit, like didn't know how to react to that. It was just a bit of a mess. And then suddenly, when I'm feeling a bit sorry for her, I see on social media the next day she's saying she wants a rematch. You know, I'm like, come on, do you know what I mean? Let's not be deluded. You know, why is your team not sitting you down and saying, listen, there's a few things we need to work on. Listen, she's got some tools. She's got some physical tools. She's really tall. You know, it's just they need working on properly. You know, she can't allow fighters to get close to her that easy.
Yeah.
You know, she's got to give them something to think about. So, you know, do you want to pick that comment up, Mick, that I can just put?
Where is it? I can't see it. Oh. So Amanda Gall or Ebony Bridges versus Shanika Johnson next on MVP. Big show in November or December time.
Can I comment on that?
Yeah.
You've got to remember that Ebony Bridges has been out for what, 2 years? There or thereabouts.
Yeah.
I want the fight to happen, but not straight away.
No,
Ebony needs to knock some ring rust off. She's just had a baby. Let's not forget. She needs to knock some ring rust off. She's been out of the ring for a couple of years. She needs a couple of tune-up fights is probably the wrong word, but she needs to get back in the ring and she needs to knock some ring rust off. If that fight's going to happen, it should be happening summer next year, probably. Yeah. I think she needs. I think she probably needs two. She may feel after one that she's ready, but well, I mean, it's a work in progress. You know, obviously, like I say, she's just had a baby and she's working on fitness and on all sorts in the gym, as Daz will probably back me up on that. You know, it's going to take time, isn't it? Things like that take time. So she definitely needs at least one fight, probably potentially two, before they make that massive fight for me. Whether MVP allow that to be the case, I'm sure they will, because they want to see the best Ebony versus the best Shanika.
Yeah, listen, I think, and I'll be honest, we've not really had a conversation into all the details, but
yeah,
I don't know. Obviously, I don't know Jake Paul, but I pretty much gather that he's not going to have signed Ebony to not try and get the best out of her.
of course.
So, you know, to jump straight in with Chinika or even Amanda Gall is, well, I mean, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Ebony's got too much respect for Chinika to do that. So, you know, she needs a fight or two. And then, yeah, I'm pretty sure from what I've seen, she'll be ready to go.
Okay. Moving on to the last fight that we're going to talk about on this card, and that's the return of Chantel Cameron, fighting for the first time under Stephen Smith. So she won the WBC interim super lightweight title against Jessica Kamara in quite a convincing style. I think we saw flashes of the old Chantel Cameron in this fight, lads. Mick, I'll come to you first. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there was flashes there. Let's be honest, though, I think this was more just a case of let's do what needs to be done to keep us there in case Katie Taylor wins, and then we can try and get the trilogy fight. I think that's what that was about Friday night for me. Let's not take any huge risks. Just get through it, get the W, and keep ourselves in the shop window, ready for Katie Taylor if she got past Serrano. That was what it was about. And that's exactly what she did for me. There were flashes, but for long periods of the fight, it was, it was rinse and repeat, wasn't it? There was nothing outstanding in it. It was just a job well done, really, for me. But good to see that she got what she needed. And for me, that's the fight I want to see. I want to see Katie get brought home. Croke Park, trilogy fight, done.
Daz, any thoughts to add on to that? There's one more question. There's one more question for me as well. Is does that fight happen? Will Katie Taylor allow that fight to happen? It's likely. Obviously, if it does happen, it's going to be Croke Park in Ireland, because I don't see Katie Taylor fighting again after a Chantel Cameron trilogy fight. No. I think that'll be it.
No, listen, Mick said it all for me. I don't really need to say a lot more on it. That's what it should be. That a victory, another victory over Chantel cements Katie. A loss to Chantel, I think she's still number one of all time. But it needs to happen. So, you know, let's hope it does.
Okay. I think that's that card done, lads. But just to end on it before we move on, would you all be in agreement that is the best female lineup, female fight card in history?
Unquestionably for me.
Yeah.
I don't like Jake Paul for his antics in his own career, but for what he's doing at such a young age as a promoter, that was phenomenal. Everything from the production to some of the matchups, it was outstanding, to be fair. Unquestionably the greatest female card for me.
Staggering, wasn't it? On the best stage of all, Madison Square Garden is the best venue in the world. That's the word I was looking for, mate. I couldn't find it. Well done. Yes, the mecca of boxing. 100%, the best, and will never be bettered as a venue, in my opinion. The history there seeps from the walls. It's a staggering venue with staggering history.
Blue Horizon in Philadelphia, man.
What's that? Sorry,
with you. Blue Horizon in Philly.
Maybe.
Or, you know, yeah, I'd agree with you, to be fair. Madison.
It's going to be, because obviously that was Netflix. That was viewed by millions more people than it would have been viewed by had it been on DAZN. So, a massive coup for most valuable promotions in Jake Paul. I'm like you, Mick, and I've not been shy in saying that I don't like Jake Paul as a fighter or his antics or the fact that he pulls the wool over people's eyes as a boxer. As a promoter, in my opinion, he's safe female boxing. People might call me dramatic, don't care.
Well, I just want to go on record as saying I love Jake Paul. I think he's a great boxer as well, to be fair. He's probably the best cruiserweight in the world.
He's certainly number 14, apparently.
Well,
yeah. Listen,
WBA is rethinking that now, aren't they? Now they've had a bit of pressure.
Okay. But all joking aside, you can take absolutely nothing away from what he's doing for female boxing. And I say it again, he's safe female boxing, because where was it going? Answers on a postcard from anyone in the sidebar. If you disagree with me in the sidebar, drop the comments, please, and we'll talk about them.
Akan's put a few comments in. MVP has confirmed that Metcalf is on MVP plans, but she'll be fighting. I don't know. I can probably get her a fairly straightforward couple of comeback fights, maybe. Mayo Ishida wants IBF to order her to be mandatory for Chinika Johnson. That possibly could happen. We could possibly see all them titles fractured. A couple of them maybe. If she's got a WBC mandatory and IBF want their mandatory, she could get stripped. Who knows? He's also put, I don't think we'll see Taylor Cameron free. I can see where you're coming from with that.
What question to him, Gaz, on that? If we don't see Taylor Cameron 3, does that mean he thinks that Katie Taylor retires now? Because let's have it right. That's the only dance partner Katie Taylor really needs to be going in with.
Yeah. You can only answer that. I can't answer for you.
I can't think of another unless they do I still can't think.
No, it's got to be Chantal Cameron, mate. It's got to be Chantal Cameron. It can't be anybody else.
Nobody else makes sense for a fight.
The only other thing, and this loses Katie a bit of credibility, in my opinion, is she fights somebody else at Croke Park as a farewell. But why would you do that?
I don't think that's in Katie Taylor's makeup, mate.
No, I don't either. I don't, but it's not Katie Taylor's decision sometimes.
That would be. I believe that would be.
I've got a name that I think you could sell, but for people like us who really follow the sport, I don't think it would wash. And it would be to bring back Tasha Jonas for one last dance. That's the only one for me that you could possibly sell it. I don't. Just because of name value.
Yeah. I just think after what Lauren Price did to Tasha,
had we not seen the Lauren Price fight, I'd probably agree with you, Mick. But after the fight, I can't see that washing.
Yeah.
And I'm a massive fan. I'm a massive fan of Jonas.
What about Lauren Price? What about Taylor v. Price?
No, too big. She's too big.
Yeah.
I mean, Taylor, let's be honest, is a 135, isn't she? She's not a big puncher. I mean, what is it? 6 stoppages in 25, 26 fights. She's not a big puncher at 135. If you put her up at 147, she's going to get hurt against Lauren Price.
I don't see. I mean, Price is also too skilled to give Taylor the wide opportunity on boxing skill that she'd need against an heavier weight.
You need
no matter who we throw out there though.
It does, yeah. And
the only person to beat her.
The thing for me, that itch for Katie Taylor wanting to fight at Croke Park, is going to be too much for her to walk away without doing that.
Well, Akan's replied, he's put Alicia Baumgartner wants to fight Katie Taylor next, and Tasha Jonas is number 2 on the IBF super lightweight rankings. Yeah, I just don't think anyone wants to see Tasha fight Katie Taylor after the Lauren Price fight. Baumgardner, I just can't make a case for anyone other than Chantel Cameron.
No, I can't either. And there's obviously a narrative there with what happened with Chantel and Matchroom, and the way she walked away from Matchroom and the way she spoke about how she was treated there. There's obviously a narrative that can be brought into fight week. Yeah, it's the only thing that can happen. But we'll see, won't we? And like I say, I don't think Katie Taylor's got it in her makeup for her last fight at the home of Ireland. I don't think she would be happy to walk away in a fight like that of fighting somebody that the crowd and everyone in boxing knows is a walkover.
Yeah, I agree. Okay,
moving on then, guys, to Queens, New York. Early hours of Sunday morning. Was tagged as the Ring 3 event. We'll start off right at the top of the bill. Shakur Stevenson beat William Zepeda in a fairly one-sided fight. Scorecards read 118-110 times 2 and 119-109. Daz, anything different to what you expected to come out of this fight?
Yeah, not really. It were pretty much Shakur, weren't it? So yeah, I mean, he's saying he showed a bit of dog in the fight. Seems like that's a lot of what people like to be saying now. But yeah, listen, Shakur did what Shakur does. So, fair play to him.
Mick, anything to add?
No, I mean, we had, we've spoke about the Turkey Al-Sheikh comments in the past about he wants to see wars, not boxing masterclasses. He was even posting pictures on X of Zepeda and Shakur in a tiny ring where they have no option but to basically have a scrap. You're never going to see that from Shakur Stevenson. He's up there pound for pound as one of the most skilled fighters on the planet.
And that's taking that would basically be tying Shakur's hands behind his back.
Exactly. Why would you want to give the advantages that you've got as a fighter? Why would you want to give them away just for somebody who's going to pay you a bit extra? For me, why risk your career and risk your record? Yeah, he did get sort of dragged in a couple of times, but for me, it's not the fact of he's with Shakur. It's not the fact that he's so good that he just outclasses people. At times, there's been occasions where you can clearly see the stoppage is there. He just doesn't want to take it. For me, he wants to just he wants to do the full distance and outclass people when he could step on it.
Safety option. Yeah, safety option. I mean, I'm a fan of Shakur. I'm going to be honest, I'm a fan of Shakur, but the lad needs to get his head a wobble.
That was going to be my next comment. How dare he come out with comments of, to say that along the lines of Sugar Ray Robinson was a bum is absolutely scandalous. It does one or two things. It's one or two things for me, lads. Either Shakur Stevenson, you can be the best boxer in the world and not understand boxing. He clearly doesn't know his boxing history, number one. Or if he does, this is just jealousy. Which is it?
Or it's creating the headlines, isn't it? It's trying to create that viral moment before he gets in the fight, because let's be honest, his fights aren't creating viral moments.
Why would you do something like that? Because all that's going to do is get the backup of boxing historians, people that have talked about Sugar Ray Robinson as being the best ever fighter, and there's an argument for that. He's the best ever, pound for pound, best ever.
He is.
He is. So
you know what, mate? This is what I say. Now. Listen, he's not. My favourite fighter of all time is Roberto Duran, as probably everyone knows. and he for me is in the top 5. The greatest ever is Sugar Ray Robinson. Now, I've seen video of Sugar Ray Leonard saying he's the greatest ever, and Muhammad Ali saying he's the greatest ever. Who are we to argue with them two? You know what I mean? So that's what I say to people now. You just got to accept that Sugar Ray Robinson was doing things in the 40s and 50s that some elite fighters can't do now.
And for Shakur to come out and say boxing's evolved.
Well, yeah, it has, but he was so far in front. It's still thingy. I mean, how many fighters can you name now that are around now that could knock somebody out going backwards?
There probably isn't any.
You know, just ridiculous. The man was head and shoulders above everybody. I mean, the second greatest of all time for me is Louis Armstrong, who was featherweight, lightweight, welterweight champion at the same time when there was only one title, and defended them all, I believe. You know, come on, you've got to give these guys the credit that, you know, especially Robinson was so far in front of everybody. You know, if he was around now as a welterweight, he's undisputed. Simple as that. There's no.
The thing is, though, whether Shakur believes what he said or not, is it not now having the desired effect in the sense of there's going to be multiple outlets, multiple channels talking about it. There's going to be multiple questions at press conferences when he's sat at ringside at other fights. This has now created that narrative for him, and it's creating that buzz around him, whether it's for a good reason or a bad reason. And like you say, it's going to build, because you're probably going to get people who tune in to his next fight to see him get beat, like people started to do with Mayweather to a degree.
Yeah, Shakur will probably go down as an all-time great fighter, but he will never go down as better than Robinson. No. And that obviously annoys him. So, you know, but yeah, listen, I'm a big fan of Shakur Stevenson. I just think sometimes you need to think before you speak.
Yeah, I mean, the skill's obviously there with Shakur Stevenson. It's undeniable, but he's boring.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's boring.
It's fact. It's like I said, there's times when he could pull the trigger, he doesn't.
Yeah. Okay. Moving swiftly on, because the comment obviously made more of a talking point to us than the actual fight did. Hamzah Sheeraz has welcomed himself onto the world of the super middleweight division with a blistering performance against Edgar Berlanga. There's no other way to describe it. I'll be honest with you, lads. When the fight started and he was head-to-head trading in the pocket, I was thinking, oh dear, he's going to get knocked spark out here because he's not using his skill, he's not using his distance, he's not using his jab, he's not using his advantages. Normally, we'd be saying, what are you doing? But there was a plan in there. Andy Lee and him have got a plan together. They've realised what Edgar Berlanga is all about, and they know how hard Hamzah Sheeraz hits. And we saw in round 4 and then the start of round 5 exactly what Hamzah Sheeraz is all about in the super middleweight division. Staggering performance. I'll come to you first, Mick.
Yeah, I mean, so you say at the start, you sort of thought, what are you playing at? Because we all know that Berlanga can bang, especially when he's inside. But Hamzah Sheeraz and his team clearly knew something different. The one thing I would say is that as soon as he got that stoppage, the comparison started to come with Canelo and Berlanga. For me, yeah, he went the distance with Canelo, but let's be honest, he went in there against somebody who he classed as a hero, and he was only trying to survive. He didn't go in there to fight with Canelo, did he? He went in there thinking he could win against Hamzah Sheeraz. Yeah. But Sheeraz, for me, he's got it all. I honestly thought the Adames fight would be the unraveling a little bit. I thought people are going to watch that and see how to get to him, but he looked phenomenal. He's got size, he's got strength, the power that he's got in the shots. He's got boxing ability, got a great team behind him. He looks like a Bond villain. He's just brilliant. And the performance, for me, he stole the show.
Yeah, has Andy Lee instilled belief back into Hamzah?
I don't think it's a case of belief. He probably took a little bit of a dent after the Adames fight. But listen, I've been saying since the kid turned pro he's going to be special. I've seen him, practically from the beginning, and I've said he's going to be special. I just think he was struggling to make middle, and it caught up with him a bit in the Adames fight. I think now he's... how he made light middleweight, I don't know. So he's, now he's where he needs to be. And I think that showed. I'm not going to get massively excited over that. I'm not going to do cartwheels just yet because I don't think Berlanga's as good as what some people thought he was. But he still was a good fighter and he posed problems. He had power. And I think, Sheeraz has done what he needed to do and looked very, very good doing it. And I think he's announced himself. So onwards and upwards now for Hamzah. And I think he will go on to be world champion at that weight.
So straight away, Turkey Allah Sheikh's putting comments out. We have to see Hamzah Sheeraz versus Canelo next. Daz, would you do that, or would you have Hamzah fight a couple more times at super middleweight?
Yeah, why not a couple, like one or two more? Mbili, is he? I believe he's a super middleweight. Christian Mbili, is it? He said put him in with him for a final eliminator. But what's going to happen with Crawford and Canelo?
No guarantees that Canelo's still champion, is there?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, listen, I happen to think Crawford wins, but that's another show.
Mick?
So, yeah, you can't really call for that. Let's put him in with someone like Mbili or something, and then or a Pacheco maybe. Let's see, make it an eliminator, and then let's see where we go from there.
Mick, what's your thoughts?
If I wouldn't do it next. For one, obviously, we've got the Crawford fight, which for me, I think I agree with Daz. I've said it for a while. I think Crawford wins that fight anyway. But let's say he doesn't. Canelo comes through it. Why not give Hamzah another opponent of Canelo's that they've got in common, and then build the fight that way? I was thinking more like a Plant, for example. Put him in with someone like a Plant, see how he does, see if he comes through, which I think he would. Be a war, but he'd come through it. And then if Canelo is still there, the fight's there for him. But I genuinely don't think Canelo will be there. I think Crawford gets it done.
Okay. There was obviously talk before this fight that we'd get a massive British showdown at super middleweight. Daz, can you see that happening? Is there any chance, or does Hamzah Sheeraz say, "No, I'm above that. I'm moving on and staying in the States, fighting the big names over here"?
We're talking VU.
There's Eubank, and oh my God, my brain's gone. Sorry,
Callum Simpson.
Callum Simpson. Callum obviously took a little bit of umbrage to the fact that Hamzah was put straight in at number one in the UK in super middleweights.
I think Hamzah's sort of enforced that with this performance. Listen, I can see Callum v Hamzah at some point. I really can, probably for a world title. But not just yet. I think Hamzah's just a bit bit above.
Do you
at the
think
minute.
there's any chance that Eubank would step up and fight Hamzah Sheeraz or even Callum Simpson at super middleweight?
No, not at all. I think once this Ben fight's done, he might start shouting he wants Canelo, but listen, probably one more fight and then I think he's done as well. If he loses to Ben, then they'll do it a third time, won't they? So
yeah, it is what it is, isn't it?
The only way Hamzah should fight a British guy next is if it's for a vacant world title for me.
Yeah. Fair comment.
1,000,000%.
I'm sure Callum Simpson will be shouting for that fight, but you're probably right. It probably doesn't happen. Anyway, I think that's the end of that topic, lads. So moving swiftly on, we have one thing to talk about, last thing to talk about tonight, and that's next Saturday night, Skate Academy, Fight Zone, Fight Academy, Dennis Hobson show. Our very own friend of the channel, fighter for Daz Medkov, Nicola Hurtwell, challenges Marie Conant for the IBO World Flyweight title. Daz, what's the update on Nick? How's she looking?
Yeah, camp's gone really well, mate. Not gonna lie, she's had a brilliant camp. Obviously, it got extended and dealt with that. Raring to go, mate.
Obviously, I came up about a week after the original fight was cancelled to get a reaction from Nick. Did an interview, and that's on the channel for anybody that wants to go and watch it. She really opens up on that. It's difficult, isn't it, when you're tailoring a camp and you're 1 week out or 2 weeks out, you're ready to go, and then the fighter gets pulled for no fault of your own, no fault of Marie Conan's either, by the way. The undercard, a lot of the undercard fell through, and let's have it right. It was the right decision by Dennis Hobson to pull the fight.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He had no choice, really, mate. You know, the tickets that were sold. If anyone don't know the way smaller all shows work, tickets from fighters basically pay the bills. Tickets that fighters sell to their fans pay the bills. And when a couple of those fighters pull out, or the fight gets cancelled for injuries or for whatever reason, opponents pulling out and they can't find another one, those tickets have to be refunded, and then the fight and the event is not making the money it should be making. Makes no sense as a promoter. But to Dennis's good, he straight away got the fight remade. So I think it was 6 weeks after the news of the original fight being pulled that we got the new date. So now Nick is a week out. Camp's done. She'll be tailoring down, I'm sure, doing more than she should be doing, knowing Nick, because she can't sit still. Have you told her?
She won't. She'll be doing exactly what I tell her.
Good. She's always in fantastic shape, Nick. And I know you guys have obviously worked on a game plan. What does Marie Conan bring to the table, Daz, that you need to be wary of?
She's tough. Very, very game. She's very fit. Well, she seems very physically strong. Quite relentless. She's got a good jab. Yeah, she's a good fighter. You don't win a world title if you're not very good. So I've got a lot of respect for Marie. Very good fighter.
Going to be a very interesting night. Obviously, I'm up there for Last Bell Boxing. Mick, I know this was one you were looking to get to originally.
Yeah, gutted, to be honest, because obviously we weren't long out when Daz obviously let me know of the date being pushed back, but unfortunately I can't make the new date. So hey ho, hopefully I'll be able to get there for our first defence instead.
Exactly, mate. For people that can't get there on the night, I'm sure there's potentially a few tickets left. Contact Nick direct on her socials if you want the ticket for the fight. For the people that can't get down, this will be on Fight Zone. You can view it, stream it on Fight Zone. But yeah, what a fight! What a journey Nicola's been on. It was not like 3 years ago. Nicola was fighting on on a rival boxing organisation in Bieber. She decided to make that switch, and she's not looked back. Under the guidance of Daz, I don't want to make him blush, but under the guidance of Daz, Nick's a million times a better fighter than she was then, and she'll admit that herself. You know, and she's got different levels to a game. If you know, I'm sure the Conan team have been looking at previous fights of what Nick's done in certain fights, and I know from my understanding is they've had a certain ex-opponent of Nick in there doing some sparring. So if they're looking at that fight in particular to see what they're going to get from Nicola Routwell, they're looking down the wrong avenue, because there's so much she brings to the game now. There's so many different game plans that they can bring together. Like I say, that's my words, not Daz's words, by the way. Yes, so anybody wanting to watch this, Saturday night, Fight Zone TV, and if you want tickets, contact Nicola Hurtwell direct. And if there's anything left, I'm sure she'll be able to sort you out. Anything you want to add on this, Daz, before we move on?
No, mate. Just thank you for your support and that. You know, since she's laced gloves on, even in Bieber, and then obviously when she's come over to British Boxing Board. Thank you to Mick and that. He bought tickets. I mean, it's unfortunate that they all can't make it. But yeah, listen, she's now got to. She's basically got to embrace success, which is what I say to her. You know, she's got to embrace being a world champion. She's got to take that title, and she's got to believe in herself, and she does. She's a world-class fighter, you know. But listen, this is taking nothing away from Marie Connon. Marie Connon's a very, very good fighter as well. It's going to be a tough night's work. Got a lot of respect for Marie. I've watched her enough. Yeah, very good fighter. Seems like a nice person as well. Nick's lost one fight, and that's to one of the best super flyweights in the world. And she learnt a lot from that. So let's just roll on the 19th. Let's hear on the new.
Nick was the first female fighter at Worksop. She was the first Commonwealth champion, female or male, out of Worksop.
Well, I can just literally put now. Nicola was ranked by the IBF at number 11. I mean, what an achievement that is! What an achievement that is! You know what I mean? I hadn't seen that. I can, so thank you for that. I should be sending her that. She's achieving things that haven't been achieved before from this time. You know, listen, we've had some good boxers from this time, but they've not hit the heights of what Nicola's. She has it, and she's about to it. So yeah, I mean, what an achievement being ranked by IBF is at number 11.
Unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable. Yeah. And she's such a humble. She's such a humble girl as well. Anyone that meets Nick outside of boxing, she's quite mild-mannered. She speaks very, very politely and quietly. You would not believe the transformation when she gets them gloves wrapped up. And it's fight time. Wow. Some at switches.
I'll tell you a little story before we go. It still tickles me to this day. When I first started training Nick, we went sparring. Took a place of sparring against good, strong, powerful punchers, and I saw her get hit with shots that I think would have wobbled me, to be fair. And I look at her, and I remember coming back from sparring once, and I said to her, "What goes through your mind when you're sparring or you're fighting? What do you think?" And she went, "No, really. Just I'm going to hit them more than they hit me." And I'm like, and this is a girl who's like mad in, and I'm sure she'll like tick me off for this, but it's a girl who's like mad into Disney, and you know who's got who you would look at and think, if someone told you she was a professional fighter, let alone a Commonwealth champion, ranked by IBF and about to fight for a world title, people would look at you and go, behave yourself. Do you know what I mean? But honestly, she's hard as nails. You know, listen, Emma Dolan is a fantastic fighter, and Emma Dolan can punch. Emma Dolan hit Nick with punches that she hit other girls with, and they just bounced off Nick. You know what I mean? And listen, Nick can punch as well. You know, fair to say that Nick gave Emma a toughest fight.
Yeah.
Of a career so far. You know, maybe Emma doesn't agree with that, but I personally think that. But it was a great learning fight, and you know the rounds they shared after were learning rounds as well for Nick. And you know, I appreciate Emma and Carl Greaves for that. They're top people. But yeah, Nick's mate. It still baffles me now how she is in them robes. Honestly, I still have to, you know, scratch my head and think, what's going off here?
Have you met her personally yet, Mick?
No, I haven't. Not yet. I was hoping to, obviously, on the original date, but yeah, I've not had the pleasure yet, unfortunately.
So when you do get down to fight night and Daz introduces you, you'll know from that second exactly what we're talking about. She's, like I say, she's such a well-mannered, kind of mild. She's not in your face. She's dead relaxed, dead quiet. Something changes in her head.
Mate, I know what's coming with her. And you know what? When she defended her title against Mary Abbey, I mean, Mary Abbey on paper was like 12-1 with 10 KOs. And, you know, Mary turned up to weigh-in, and I could see Mary looking at her and thinking, you know, I'm gonna eat you, I'm gonna beat you. And because Nick just stood there, just, you know, all Nick, smiley and everything. And Mary's manager actually said, you know, I'm the new and all that. And I said to him, I says, listen, I said, she's in a real fight now, kid. I says, get ready. She's in a real fight now. And then after the fight, credit to our manager, he came up to me and he went, where did that come from? And he says, I did not expect that at all. He says, and neither did Mary. He says, you know, she was just like, what? Like a you know, an hurricane. You know what I mean? And yeah, she's hard as nails. And I mean, she, like I said, she can punch as well. She's not the biggest flyweight, but listen, like I say, it still baffles me now, but it makes me laugh when you see opponents looking at her thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to do this and do that. Listen, if you do it, then yeah, great, you've earned it. But I'm telling you, she's just like she's like a little devil, like she's possessed sometimes.
I've been there. I've seen sparring against very, very, very high level opposition, and I've seen opponents that have knocked people out land the same shot on Nick and it bounced off. I winced when the shot landed, and I was like probably 2-3 foot away. I winced when the shot landed, thinking she's going to come back and her eyes are going to be in the back of her head. She come back and without a care in the world.
Mate, she sparred somebody once, right, who was like, I'd say 5-6 pound heavier, really powerful as well, really, really powerful. Been stopping people, you know, easily. And she hit Nick with a left hook, right? And Nick's head literally was like it were on a spring. So in that split second, I've looked at Nick's knees and I thought, you know, I can see him, if they're going to dip, I'm just going to pull it. By the time I'd computed all this in my mind, Nick's knees weren't there for me to look at. She'd backed this girl up in corner and she was trying to rip her head off. And I'm like, Oh, all right, fair enough. But you know, that's the thing is with me. She can box as well. She's got skills as well. You know, she doesn't have to fight, but she can if she needs to. But yeah, I mean, listen, this is, you know, this fight means a lot to me as well. It's more about Nick than me. I'm not gonna make it about me because it's not. But I cannot sort of, I don't know what the word is. I can't sort of ignore the fact that this would be my first world champion.
Absolutely.
You know, and no one's ever done that either from Worktop as a trainer.
Something for you both to celebrate, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, mate. But do you know what? Listen, Marie Connon's going to be having an interview probably today, tomorrow, the next day, and Marie Connon's going to be saying, you know, I've not been able to get fights since I won the title. I've been injured. People are probably writing me off, and she's got a point to prove, and that's going to give her an extra 10% for me. And I fully respect Marie. I think she's a very good fighter. She's my type of fighter. No nonsense. You know, I watch her and I think, yeah, I like what you do. You know, so yeah, tough night's work, but I believe Nick's a world-class fighter. I know Marie Connon's a world-class fighter. I just believe Nick's that little bit better. So let's, you know, roll on the 19th.
Best of luck to both of you.
I think that's a perfect way to bring the show to an end. Lads, it's been an absolute pleasure, as always, having you on. We've got a lot to talk about come Sunday morning, Sunday evening, if we do another one of these. With obviously the Dubois versus Usyk card as well. We'll probably do a show on Thursday night to talk about that one and give our predictions. So until Thursday, thanks for joining Last Ball Boxing. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit the notifications button. That will let you know when we go live. And for now,